Since you're attacking us, can you give us a question? No, Mr. President-elect.
Go ahead.
Mr. President-elect, since you are attacking our news organization, can you give us a chance? You are attacking our news organization. Can you give us a chance to ask a question, sir?
Go ahead.
Sir, can you state, Mr. President-elect, can you state categorically, Mr. President-elect, can you give us a question? You're attacking us. Can you give us a question?
Don't be rude.
Can you give us a question?
I'm not going to give you a question.
Can you state categorically?
You are fake news.
Sir,
go ahead.
Can you...
After President-elect Donald Trump shut down CNN reporter Jim Acosta's outbursts at a press conference, one Republican lawmaker now calling on CNN to fire the reporter, saying, quote, the CNN reporter who was disruptive to the press briefing and disrespectful to Donald Trump should be fired and prohibited from any press briefings. And that representative joins us now. He's Republican Texas Congressman Randy Weber. Congressman, thanks so much for coming on the show.
Thanks, Liz.
I really appreciate you coming on. Is firing too harsh?
Well, you know, look, here's the thing, Liz. What he did was disruptive to the entire press corps, if you want to call them that there, not to mention the American public. You know, I learned in kindergarten you couldn't be disruptive, before kindergarten really, you couldn't be disruptive and you had to act at least respectful in that kind of a setting. So, you know, he should have known. And really to attempt to shout down the president-to-be, the president-elect of the United States of America in a setting like that, to the disparity of all the other reporters in the room, is firing harsh. You know, since you asked that question, if I had a staffer that did that, you would expect them to be, there would be people calling for that staffer to be fired, and rightfully so. You know, you just don't get to disrespect the president-to-be of the United States of America and be so disrespectful to the American public who wanted to see the questions answered. I thought Donald Trump did a magnificent job of maintaining his composure. We ought to time that and see exactly how many seconds were wasted there. You would think that the reporters would know. If you watch the election, November 8th, a lot of these people came out and protested, and they did, call them whatever you want, protest, call them mini riots where they threw rocks and bottles, destroyed some property. You know, November the 8th has come and gone, and Americans have elected a president. It's time Donald Trump gets the respect he deserves, and for a reporter to know what the First Amendment is, right, and to exhibit that kind of disrespect on national TV, in my view, is reprehensible.
I like your...
I'm sorry, go ahead, Liz.
Sorry, I just wanted to get your reaction to what Jim Acosta had to say about the press conference. Let's listen.
During that news conference, Sean Spicer said to me that if I were to continue to persist and try to ask a question, that I would be thrown out of that news conference. Now, Aaron, keep in mind, I've covered 4 presidential campaigns. I covered President Obama at the White House. I have never had a press secretary threaten to throw me out of a news conference. That is a first. It is not a good sign of things to come.
All right, not a good sign of things to come. What do you make of that?
Well, I think the gentleman is methinks he protested too much, as Shakespeare said. You got to ask yourself, and I don't know this reporter, how many other presidents in the 4 years or 4 presidents, he said, whichever, how many of those has he tried to shout down on national TV? I would offer this, that had he been that disruptive and that disrespectful to a soon-to-be president of the United States, then somebody should have told him he's going to get thrown out, if nothing else, his boss at CNN.
I'd like your thoughts on the next topic. You know, that fight that continues over the student painting depicting police officers as pigs hanging up in Capitol Hill. You know, basically the rules of the contest, according to Congressman who came on the show, the student wasn't supposed to be doing subject matter that was so controversial like that, but the painting was hung up and then it was taken down multiple times. And in the most recent development, a Blue Lives Matter flag has been hung above the picture in support of America's police officers. That thin blue line you see in that flag is the line between us and danger. That's who the police officers are. So when will this fight end? When will that picture will it be taken down permanently? What do you think?
Well, I hope so, Liz. My bride of over 40 years was a school teacher for 27 years, and I've often said we don't pay our educators and our law enforcement and first responders near what we pay our professional, you know, entertainers. I use the word professional loosely. We don't pay them enough to teach the next generation of Americans and those who protect protect us and the next generation of Americans.
Yeah.
And to do something like that in the United States Capitol, in my view, is absolutely reprehensible and should be taken down. There actually are rules for the architect of the Capitol. We've been looking at those. That certain kinds of disruptive things, certain kinds that paint classes of people in a derogatory fashion, cannot be posted in the Capitol. So we're working on that.
So you're working on that. So you'll tell us what happens. Congressman, I'd like to talk about this next story and get your thoughts. We've got this heroic illustration of the compassion and courage of our police force. I'd like you to, if you can, I'm not sure you can see this image of police officer Stephen McDonald's funeral today. This is in front of St. Patrick's Cathedral in Midtown Manhattan. Thousands gathered there. Can you contrast Stephen's story with that of the Black Lives Matter and the, this painting of the cops as pigs? Just for viewers to bring them up to date, Stephen McDonald forgave his shooter within months after he was shot in 1986. He was on duty. McDonald was paralyzed from the neck down. He continued to serve the NYPD for 3 decades. And he even said this about his shooter, quote, "I forgive him and hope that he can find peace and purpose in his life. He said Shavad's story is with me wherever my story is told. We have helped many people, the two of us." What are your thoughts?
Well, Liz, obviously that is a contrast. You're talking about America's finest, and what a sterling example of that very thing. Why won't America stand up for our fighting men in blue? I don't know if you saw, but there was actually a patrolman in Arizona yesterday, I think it was, or maybe this morning, that an Arizonan had to shoot somebody who had shot that police officer twice and was beating his head into the pavement. Our kids have not learned respect for our police officers and our school teachers. We've got a problem, America, we have a problem. We need to be teaching our kids respect and to care for and to reward those who teach and protect us. And you don't see it. And the fact that this officer has passed on with that kind of attitude is a great testimony to those who serve us.
Congressman Randy Weber, we love having you on. Come back soon, okay?
Thanks, Liz.